Hi guys, it's Nina here and welcome back to Q&A Tuesday. Now today we have a question from Jennifer. And Jennifer said that it would be really great if you could talk about the beginning of your recovery and how you pushed through without giving up. I know it turned around relatively quick for you and I'm trying to be patient, but I can't help but think that I'm not getting such fast results. I still obsess about food, not as much though. Okay, Jennifer, now let me clarify something. I do say that my recovery did happen quite quickly. The obsession was removed relatively quickly, but I struggled with this for a decade. And I tried numerous things and I always had that obsession. It was definitely a long-term battle and it didn't happen overnight. So when I started really becoming an intuitive eater and focusing on completely getting rid of the diet mentality, eating exactly what I wanted, when I wanted, in the amounts that I wanted, I make it seem as though that happened overnight, but it didn't. There was definitely a struggle. There were definitely times when I felt that I'd overeaten and I wanted to restrict for a day or two, but what always kept me going was, first of all, the decade of hell that I'd just been through and knowing for a fact that diets and restriction would never ever work for me. I had to have that so deeply ingrained into my nervous system that I would never attempt that again. So that was the main thing that kept me going. But I will say this, and even today, after many, many years of full recovery and having no obsession whatsoever, I still get these random ideas sometimes that float into my mind, like, oh, maybe I should go on a juice cleanse, or maybe I should cut out a certain food group or something like that. And I can tell you that what instantly happens within a day or two, I'm having binge thoughts and I'm wanting to eat more than usual. So it can still happen, and my biggest advice would be avoid diets, avoid restricting. That is the fastest way to get to full and complete recovery. A few other things that were really helpful to me during the early stages of my recovery. One thing was being around people who I considered to be normal eaters. So people who I thought really didn't have an eating disorder, didn't have issues with food, ate whatever they wanted. I really tried to keep them within a close circle and to ask them a lot of questions about what they eat, what they don't eat. I was really shocked a lot of the time about the food that people were eating, and they weren't gaining weight. They were completely normal. They didn't have the guilt. They didn't restrict or go and work out for 3 hours afterwards. So that was a really big part of my initial recovery, talking to other people who were normal eaters. The other thing was eating out, because I was so used to being isolated, and that is where the disease really gets you and takes over. So try to eat out as much as possible. Try to vary your food. Try to do things differently. Try to get away from that eating disorder mentality and the isolation that it wants to lock you into. So thank you, Jennifer, for your question on Q&A Tuesday. You are doing great, and thank you all for posting your amazing questions. I want to help as many of you as possible to achieve full and complete recovery, which I know is possible for anyone. I always say this, if I could do it, anybody can do it. Thank you guys for watching. It's Nina from helpforeatingdisorder.com.